Welcome to all our new viewers, and a big hello to our loyal subscribers. If you enjoy our content, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel for more insightful videos. You are really welcome to be here today. Let's go into an intriguing and practical topic: tips to identify bad people. We'll approach this from the perspective of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that offers guidance for navigating life's unavoidable obstacles, challenges. But first, we'd want to hear your thoughts in the comments area before we get into the article's main points. Thank you for taking the time to engage with us. Your feedback helps us create content that is more relevant to you. I assure you, it will be worthwhile if you read this whole thing. 1. The key to successful relationships and personal safety is learning to recognize when other individuals are lacking in virtue. Honesty, compassion, and integrity are the cornerstones of a trustworthy and respectful relationship. One indicator of potential marital toxicity is when one spouse consistently disregards these qualities. Distrust and unease in a relationship might be caused, for example, by a person's practice of manipulative or dishonest conduct. Stoicism holds that virtue is the highest good and encourages its adherents to cultivate it in themselves, while also keeping an eye out for it in others around them. 2. A characteristic of being self-centered is failing to prioritize the needs, desires, and opinions of another person above their own. Due to their constant focus on themselves, self-centered individuals are infamously bad at developing meaningful relationships. People who are very self-absorbed in relationships may always be seeking other people's praise and attention, even when they aren't the ones in need. This could cause animosity and create an imbalance in the relationship. Important principles of Stoicism include the need of not being selfish and focusing on the needs of others rather than one's own, and the interconnectedness of all individuals. 3. To control or influence other people for one's own gain, manipulative behavior may take many forms, including deceit, coercion, and emotional manipulation. Gaslighting, guilt-tripping, and taking advantage of someone's weaknesses are all instances of this kind of manipulation. Manipulative people often prioritize their personal agendas above the well-being and independence of others around them. Sincerity and integrity are the most valued traits in Stoicism because dishonesty will bring shame upon you. Being vigilant and setting boundaries to avoid manipulation may help people protect themselves from being manipulated or taken advantage of by others. 4. Being emotionally distant and self-absorbed manifests itself in the inability to understand and share another person's feelings. People who lack empathy are more prone to be heartless and uncaring when others are suffering, which may put a strain on relationships and diminish unity. The ability to feel compassion for the suffering of other sentient beings is central to Stoicism's concept of virtue. We may cultivate more loving and helpful relationships if we put in the effort to increase our own empathy and seek out others who share this quality. 5. Constant griping is exhausting and destructive to relationships because it encourages negativity and sets off a domino effect of dissatisfaction. When dissatisfied, people who have problems taking responsibility for their own life may be quick to blame other people or external factors. Such pessimism may have an effect on the emotional well-being of those in their immediate vicinity. Stoicism teaches that we should focus on changing what we can control and be satisfied with what we can change. Being grateful and seeing difficult situations as chances for growth may help one see the world and their relationships in a more positive light. 6. Deceitfulness. It is dishonest to inform someone of something they do not know or to conceal information from them in order to benefit oneself. This undermines trust and integrity as it makes it harder to establish relationships based on transparency and honesty. Some individuals are so self-centered that they prioritize their personal gain at the expense of others' trust and respect. Being true and authentic are essential traits according to Stoicism, while being dishonest is in contrast to virtue. If we make being open and honest our number one priority in every conversation, we can build relationships that are built on trust and integrity. 7. A negative influence is one that is pessimistic, cynical, or causes damage. Spending too much time with negative people might drain our strength and stunt our own growth. Such individuals may undermine our self-confidence, expose us to negative influences, and halt our progress toward our goals. Learning to persist through adversity and surrounding oneself with decent people are two of the most important things according to the Stoics. By being aware of and avoiding things and people who are poisonous, we may create an environment that is good for our health and personal development. 8. Inconsistencies in behavior, attitudes, or communication may weaken relationships and cause trust to fade. Individuals around inconsistent individuals often experience confusion and frustration due to their contradictory actions and words. True friendships built on mutual understanding and respect might be tough to forge when individuals aren't always trustworthy. In Stoicism, being constant is highly prized since it demonstrates loyalty and trustworthiness. By consistently behaving in line with our principles, we may build credibility and trust in our interactions. 9. Jealousy takes hold whenever we experience feelings of inadequacy, insecurity, or fear of losing something significant in our lives. This characteristic, which shows itself as jealousy of other people's success, money, or relationships, may lead to bad emotions and broken relationships. Jealous individuals frequently behave in ways that are damaging to themselves and those around them, such as being too possessive and controlling. When we let ourselves become too connected to things that are out of our hands, we inevitably acquire the bad emotion known as jealousy, says Stoicism. Expressing gratitude for what we have and focusing on our own growth and improvement may help us overcome jealousy and cultivate good relationships built on mutual support and respect. 10. Manipulative guilt is the practice of controlling the behavior of others by imposing one's own feelings of guilt on them. Some examples of this behavior include making passive-aggressive comments, engaging in emotional blackmail, or playing the victim to get sympathy. Some individuals use guilt as a means of evading responsibility or to gain sympathy and support from others. According to Stoicism, emotional manipulation is incompatible with virtue as it undermines trustworthy and honest interactions. Being mindful of manipulative guilt and learning to set boundaries may help individuals avoid being taken advantage of and maintain good relationships. 11. Disrespectful behavior. Being rude, condescending, or insensitive to other people's feelings or boundaries is just a few examples of how disrespectful behavior may manifest. Constantly endangering others and making them feel insecure is a certain way to ruin relationships. That kind of behavior could erode the foundation of solid relationships, as respect is essential to establishing mutual understanding and working together. According to Stoicism, showing respect for others is an indication of virtue and an acknowledgement of our shared humanity. Establishing clear boundaries and politely but firmly challenging disrespectful behavior are two ways individuals may maintain their dignity and integrity in social interactions. 12. When we say that someone isn't accountable, we imply that they aren't willing or able to take responsibility for their own actions, choices, or mistakes. Placing blame on others, making excuses, or denying personal responsibility for unfavorable outcomes are all signs of a lack of accountability. Accountability is a cornerstone of honesty and reliability, yet it may erode trust and confidence in relationships if not handled properly. According to Stoicism, taking responsibility of our actions is a courageous and wise thing to do since it means acknowledging when we're wrong and trying to do better. If we want our relationships to be more honest and responsible, we should set a good example by taking responsibility for ourselves and expecting others to do the same. 13. An example of being too critical is constantly finding fault with other people without offering constructive feedback or encouraging them to improve. Excessive criticism may damage others' self-confidence and esteem, creating a toxic and discouraging atmosphere. Relationships built on mutual respect and trust may take a hit when this sort of behavior fosters defensiveness and animosity. Stoicism promotes the use of sympathetic and caring criticism as a tool for self-improvement. People may develop their connections and each other's professional and personal growth via the provision of supportive, constructive feedback. 14. Sarcasm, gossip, and passive-aggressive remarks are examples of toxic communication patterns that undermine mutual respect and trust in partnerships. Relationships may become strained when people use toxic communication techniques to dominate or control others. When people act in this way, it ruins relationships and makes it hard to communicate effectively, making it harder to resolve conflicts or deal with situations productively. According to Stoicism, sincere and open dialogue is the foundation for mutual understanding and collaboration. Learning to listen carefully, understand other people's feelings, and speak out for what you want may help individuals build relationships built on trust and respect. 15. Emotional instability, defined as extreme and frequent changes in mood or emotional state, may lead to interpersonal instability and unpredictability. Others who struggle to keep their emotions in check may find it challenging to read the moods and actions of others around them, particularly when those emotions include negative ones like anger, sadness, or anxiety. Due to the fact that it causes individuals to feel unsteady and uncomfortable, emotional volatility has the potential to strain relationships and harm trust. In order to face life's challenges with grace and composure, Stoics emphasize the importance of cultivating emotional strength and serenity. When individuals learn to regulate their emotions via mindfulness and other practices, it improves their ability to maintain stable relationships. 16. An instance of boundary violation occurs when one individual, without the other person's consent, disrespects or crosses another's emotional, psychological, or physical limits. This includes things like asking someone too many questions, physically touching them without their permission, or invading their personal space. Boundary breaches are a kind of disrespect for other people's autonomy and agency, which may make other people feel uncomfortable or violated. Stoicism teaches that demonstrating empathy and wisdom entails not intruding on other people's personal space, but rather recognizing and respecting their individuality and dignity. Setting and sticking to clear boundaries allows us to feel secure and respected, which in turn fosters healthier and more fulfilling relationships. 17. An obsessive preoccupation with one's own significance, an exaggerated sense of entitlement, and a failure to empathize with others around them are traits of narcissism. Those prone to narcissism often disregard the feelings of those around them in favor of pursuing their own desires. In relationships, narcissists may be manipulative or exploitative since they don't care about other people's emotions or welfare. Humility and self-awareness, which allow one to see their own limitations and cultivate empathy and compassion, are the remedies for narcissism, according to Stoicism. By being humble and empathetic toward one another, we may foster connections that are stronger and more authentic, based on mutual understanding and respect. 18. By putting the other person's well-being and autonomy at risk, one partner in an exploitative relationship takes advantage of the other for financial gain. Whether in a romantic connection, a friendship, or even at business, this occurs when one person uses another's weaknesses or weaknesses to their advantage. A significant component of treating others fairly and respectfully is building trust and reciprocal respect in relationships, which is vital according to Stoicism. People may protect themselves from being taken advantage of and foster more equitable relationships by being alert and setting boundaries to prevent exploitation. 19. When people refuse to take responsibility or make amends, it may put a strain on relationships and lead to a decline in trust and respect. It could be difficult for prideful or insecure individuals to acknowledge they are wrong or take responsibility for their actions if they have trouble apologizing. Relationships may be strained as a result of unresolved arguments and grudges, which may escalate over time. According to Stoicism, one has to be humble and reflect on themselves often if they want to do better. When individuals learn to be modest and accept themselves without judgment, it fosters better and more harmonious relationships based on understanding and respect. A more self-aware and resilient person is the result of this. 20. In order to avoid taking responsibility for one's actions or the consequences of those actions, some people resort to a strategy known as blame shifting when they accuse another person or group of being at fault. In order to make oneself seem good while blaming others, those who participate in blame shifting may exaggerate or distort the facts. This sort of behavior may harm relationships and cause trust to be broken because it promotes emotions of injustice and betrayal. Stoicism, which emphasizes taking personal responsibility for one's actions and choices, centers on the development of self-respect and honesty. By focusing on increasing their own self-awareness and accepting responsibility for their actions, people might perhaps build connections with others that are more authentic and trustworthy. 21. Relationships may become fractured when one partner struggles to understand and relate to another's perspective. The inability to read and respond to the emotions and needs of others around you may lead to misunderstandings and strain in relationships. As a result, those affected may experience feelings of alienation and loneliness due to a lack of support and attention. As an essential component of our shared humanity, empathy is central to the Stoic tradition's teachings on compassion and understanding in interpersonal relationships. Through practicing active listening, empathizing with others, and recognizing and accepting their feelings, individuals may break down barriers, build deeper connections, and foster mutual respect. 22. Anger management challenges occur when a person has trouble controlling their anger in response to injustice, annoyance, or threats they see. A lack of self-control may lead to aggressive or furious outbursts which can cause harm to oneself or others. People affected by this issue may damage their relationships if they behave impulsively or do destructive things without considering the consequences. To achieve inner peace and tranquility, Stoicism emphasizes the importance of mastering one's emotions, particularly anger. Mindfulness, self-awareness, and cognitive reframing are activities that may help you regulate your anger and respond wisely to challenging situations. 23. Highly criticism. People with a high level of criticism are quick to find fault with the actions, characteristics, or choices of others. They may be very critical of others and steadfast in their beliefs and goals, failing to consider other people's perspectives and life experiences. Antagonism and hostility may flourish in relationships when one party is too critical of another. Being empathetic and non-judgmental towards other people is central to Stoicism, which aims to foster understanding and acceptance. Developing an attitude of curiosity and openness may help people become more empathetic and tolerant, which in turn may strengthen their relationships. 24. Lack of gratitude occurs when individuals fail to express their thanks for the kindness, generosity, or assistance that other people provide them. Some people have trouble appreciating the good things that other people do for them, and this lack of appreciation may lead to interpersonal problems like disappointment and animosity. A sense of injustice and unhappiness may wash over those affected if they feel unappreciated or undervalued. In Stoicism, thankfulness is revered as a means to fortify one's character and triumph over adversity. By pausing to count their blessings, individuals may deepen their connections with others and demonstrate their regard for one another. 25. If you don't desire to accomplish your goals or live out your ambitions, it's because you lack ambition. Those who lack ambition never challenge themselves or attempt new things, instead settling for mediocrity or even lethargy. Others who experience this may struggle to motivate others around them, leading to relationship stagnation and unhappiness. To achieve greatness and pleasure, according to Stoicism, one must embrace a development attitude and seek out new challenges constantly. By adopting a growth mindset and setting lofty but attainable goals, we may motivate ourselves and others to reach our full potential. 26. People that are secretive do so to maintain control, avoid suspicion, or deal with fear. They keep their true feelings, ideas, and facts hidden from others around them. Relationships between people who are chronically secretive and deceitful may suffer from a lack of intimacy and trust. A person's sense of discomfort and mistrust may be intensified if they begin to question the integrity and dedication of those closest to them. If you want to build real relationships with other people, Stoicism says you have to be open and honest with them. When individuals open up and let their guard down in conversation, it may lead to a deeper connection and intimacy. A deeper comprehension and more solidified bonds will result from this. 27. Someone who has a chronic victim mentality is unable to take ownership of their actions or the outcomes they bring about. Instead, they see themselves as powerless victims of other forces. Whenever they have problems, people with a victim mentality are quick to place the blame on other people or external factors, which may trap them in a cycle of hopelessness and helplessness. People who suffer from this disease often look for validation or sympathy from others around them instead of striving to improve their own life. This is due to their feelings of helplessness and resentment in their relationships. The cultivation of inner calm and the capacity to endure adversity is one of the primary objectives of Stoicism. Refraining from seeing oneself as a victim and instead accepting responsibility for one's actions might help one's relationships. Embracing a mindset of self-determination and accountability may help accomplish this. 28. Abuse, manipulation, or codependency are the usual culprits behind toxic relationships' dysfunction, imbalance, or poisonous character. Angry, anxious, or despairing feelings are common among those in toxic relationships because their needs aren't being fulfilled or their boundaries are being violated. This can make it harder for certain individuals to break bad patterns of behavior or relationships, which can amplify their dysfunction and instability. Stoicism stresses the need of self-respect and the cultivation of healthy boundaries as means to maintain one's dignity and integrity in interpersonal interactions. Being self-aware and making changes to negative patterns or dynamics may have a positive impact on one's health and the quality of one's relationships. 29. One should not think twice about taking advantage of other people for their own gain, even if it compromises their independence or safety, according to Machiavellianism. People with Machiavellian tendencies are crafty and deceitful, and they prioritize power, control, or self-interest above moral and ethical considerations. This may cause individuals to feel betrayed and used by others they formerly trusted, which can exacerbate existing relationships of distrust and betrayal. Stoicism teaches that living a life of integrity and virtue is the surest way to have a meaningful existence. When communicating with others, being truthful, honest, and sympathetic might help individuals avoid being used or manipulated. Another option is to cultivate true friendships that are founded on mutual respect and trust. 30. People sometimes refer to their gut feeling while they're making decisions or taking action, which is their intuitive or innate understanding of the situation based on things like past experiences or subconscious signals. Intuition isn't perfect, but it may reveal crucial information about individuals or situations and alert us to potential dangers. The Stoics believe that developing more introspection and self-awareness is one of the most effective ways to face the uncertainties and challenges of life. Learning to tune into one's intuition and inner voice enables one to make better, more deliberate judgments. This in turn protects one from harm and fosters more clear and smart relationships.